Golems are animated constructs from Jewish folklore. The word originates from the term for the unshapen and unfinished human form. In the Abrahamic religious tradition, the first human, Adam, was formed out of mud or dust, and then given life by God. Like Adam, the golems of Jewish folklore are humanoid figures made from mud. A holy person close to God has the ability, or could have the ability, to instill within the golem some semblance of the touch of the divine, and then the life would be given to the golem, though ultimately it's a shadow of the one given to man by God. In the Talmud, it is stated that golems are incapable of speaking and are simple things with no real will of their own. In the Middle Ages, Jewish mysticism established that golems could be made using Hebrew words inscribed either on the golem or on papers inserted into the golem's mouth or head, giving it life. To destroy or remove this divine word giving the golem life would in turn deactivate it. There's quite a few famous stories involving golems from the Middle Ages, folk stories of rabbis creating golems and ultimately suffering for their hubris. The most famous story, however, is that of the Golem of Prague. Set in the 16th century, the story tells of Judah Blo ben Bezalel, a rabbi in the Jewish ghetto of Prague. The ghetto had been suffering terribly from anti-Semitic attacks and pogroms, instigated by Rudolf II, the Holy Roman Emperor. To protect his people, the Rabbi Lo constructed a golem out of clay from the Vltava River and managed to give it life. The golem required nothing and followed its orders, and the only care needed was that its life-giving words had to be removed on Friday evening, so not to desecrate the Sabbath. Of course, as these things do, things go badly. Though the stories wildly vary how. In some, Rabbi Lo forgets one Friday evening to remove the golem Shem, its divine words, and the golem nearly desecrates the Sabbath, which is bad. In another, the golem falls in love and is, of course, ultimately rejected, causing it to go on a violent rampage. In others, it's given a task of some kind that it follows a little too literally, or, well, into great excess, leading to destruction while it's still being perfectly obediently following Rabbi Lo's initial orders. In others, however, its defense of the ghetto becomes completely brutal, leading the Emperor to back down in exchange for the golem's deactivation. Regardless of the tale, the ultimate outcome for the golem is that it's deactivated with its chem removed, and then the golem falls dormant and is ultimately stored in the synagogue's attic, to be restored to life if needed. Now, this story appears to have actually originated sometime in the 1800s, and was ultimately an inspiration for quite a number of horror films, later folk tales, and so on, though some Orthodox Jews believe that it actually was created and still exists. Interestingly, the concepts of golems in general bear much in common with the later notion of robots, as well as the artificial humanoids like Shelley's Frankenstein, despite the base concept being around for millennia previous.